Hello and welcome to my Absolute Beginners Club, ABC. And today we're just going to do a little bit of cardio work followed by some leg work. So let's start with a side tap. All we do is bring the toe out to the side. It doesn't matter what you do with your arms. You can punch across or you can reach across. Now as you do this, stay nice and upright, keep your abdominals braced, which means pulling your belly in towards your spine. We're going to do another 10 seconds and we're going to go into a hamstring curl. So 3, 2, 1 and tap. Bring the heels up to the back side. Now as I'm doing this, I'm pushing the elbows back, kicking the heel up and across to the other side. If you have bad knees, you might not be able to do this too much, as in you might not be able to bend your knees all the way up, and that's fine. You go to wherever you can go to. After that, we're going to go squat to jab. So we sit back, 1, 2, sit back, 1, 2, sit back, 1, 2. Keep it going now. So sit back, 1, 2, sit back, 1, 2. Notice how I'm sitting back into the legs as if I'm sitting down into a chair. And we'll go into that a little bit more in just a second. After this, we're going to go to a spotty dog or tap back. So a spotty dog would normally be jumping. I don't do the jumping, I tap behind and punch in front. Again, because I'm leaning it forward, have a good abdominal brace. Now, we're going to do a 1, 2, 3 knee, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to still see myself on the phone when I do this, and I won't disappear off. So we go 1, 2, 3 knee, 1, 2, 3 knee. If you have a little bit more room, you can go a little further if you want to. And it's just a little shuffle across, 1, 2, 3 knee. So we've done a few warm-up moves and we're going to talk about doing some squats next. Now we had a little squat in the warm-up where we sat back and then we punched, but we're going to go into the more technical side of it now. So step your feet around hip distance apart or maybe a little bit wider. And what you want to imagine that you're going to sit back into a chair, keeping the weight back in your heels. I'm pushing my arms out to the front just for your counterbalance. Now it depends on your flexibility and how your knees and hips are, depends on how low you can go with this. You may be able to go really low, that's great. But the main thing is we're sitting back into the heels. Now I'll do that side on so you can see. So I'm sitting back and I'm not pushing forward into my toes and thereby pushing my knees forward. If it helps, what you can do is you can bring a chair behind you and just tap your backside down on the chair. Now you can do this as many times as you want to. We've already done around a minute. We're going to carry on and do it a little bit longer because we can, if we want to, go a little bit wider. Now when you go wider, the same rules apply, is you push your hips back and make sure your knees are following your toes. Again, I'm just bringing my arms to the front to counterbalance. It's slightly different if we go even wider, and we'll just do that now. When you go even wider, you tend to turn the toes out a little bit more, and I'm just squatting down, but now, rather than sitting back as if I'm sitting into a chair, I'm bringing my body down in a straight line. And then as I drive up through my heels, I can feel my backside just contracting, and you tend to work a little bit more into the glutes, which are your backside muscles, when you do a wider squat. Now staying with legs, we're going to do a lunge. I'm going to put my right leg back and then drop my back knee down to the ground. Now you notice how I'm hip distance apart still, okay? And you may not be able to see, but I'm on my toe on my back foot. If I turn to the side, and hopefully I've got enough room to do this, you'll see I'm hip distance apart, but I'm able to bend my back knee and push it down towards the ground, keeping my heel lifted, keeping my shoulders over the hips. If you're not far enough apart, you'll find yourself leaning forwards. And if you aren't hip distance apart, you'll find yourself starting to wobble and maybe falling down. All right, let's change sides. So starting with the other leg back, I'll do it face on. See how I'm hip distance apart, staying upright through the body, having an abdominal brace, dropping my back knee down towards the ground. I'll do that side on so you can check and see the side on version. See how I'm making 90 degrees through the front and back knee, dropping that back knee down to the ground. It's very important to get these moves right. They'll work your legs really well. But if you don't get the basics right, then you're going to cause yourself problems in the long run. Okay, so we've got both of those moves now. Let's do a little bit of each. So let's sit back into a squat. So I've gone quite narrow, underneath or just wider than my hips, sitting back and down, reaching my arms to the front for a counterbalance. If you found this really easy, what you could do is you could pick up some weights, and if you don't have weights, maybe you could pick up a couple of cans or a couple of water bottles or anything else you have to hand. So I'm going to do this for a minute, and then I'm going to do, I called it a lunge, but it's theoretically a split squat because it's a static lunge. If we wanted to make things harder, we could move it. So you can go back to the split squat, which is the static lunge, or if you want to make it harder, how about this? We step in, step back, down and up. Step in, step back, down and up. So that would be a backward stepping lunge, which is harder, but still has the same technique. Let's change legs. So other leg back, start off dropping down and coming up. If you're good with that, then we can come in, tap the toe, step back, down. Now the problem that I often see with this is people stepping the foot back behind the front leg, and that makes it very difficult to balance then. All right, let's do another round of squats before we look at another version of the lunge. So by now, hopefully you're feeling it into your legs a little bit, or at least are feeling nice and warm. Good at strong abdominals as we sit back and down. Remember to keep pushing those hips back. And if you don't feel comfortable with this width or with this stance, go a little wider, or indeed go even wider into that almost like a plie squat. Now we've done static lunges, which are known as split squats. We've done the moving ones, the backward stepping. How about taking it to a forward stepping? So I'm going to bring it back a little bit, step my foot forwards, start off with the split squat, which is where you can stay if you'd rather, or you can push back, same leg, step, drop, push back. Now this is much harder, and if you have bad knees, You may choose not to do it. We're going to do one more this side, and then we're going to step forward with the other leg, and we're just going to start by going down and up. If you want to, step back, step forwards. And this really takes it actually into the back leg as well as the front leg. So it's a much stronger move. And hold. Now we've worked out the legs, let's have a little stretch. So start by kicking the heel up to your backside, having the knee nice and relaxed on the standing leg. Knees kind of together, and it doesn't matter if your heel isn't all the way into your backside, as long as you're feeling a stretch down the front of the thigh. Let's bring that same foot to the back, pressing the heel into the ground, bending the front knee a little, and now that's your calf stretch on the rear leg. And I'm kind of leaning forward a little bit, so your shoulders, hips, knee and ankle are in one line. Bringing that back foot in, heel to floor, lift it up, tip it forwards, having the hands on the bent knee, the other leg is straight, and we're really trying to tip forward with a nice straight back so we get a lovely stretch into the back of the thigh. Let's go with the other side. So kick the heel up to start with, knees together. Remember, relaxed into that supporting leg. Gentle squeeze into the back side. Feeling it down the front of the thigh. And then place the leg behind, straightening the back leg, front knee bent, leaning it very slightly forward. Some people do prefer to do this up against the wall, and that is absolutely fine. It works really well against the wall. Bringing that back foot in a little, taking a tip from the hips, lifting the tailbone up to the ceiling, bracing the belly really strongly. Going to hold it for about 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. So thank you for joining me for my Absolute Beginners Club. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know any more about my classes, then have a look at Community Fitness Callington. And I'll see you again real soon.